2, 1, and good Memorial Day weekend here at the Grand Traverse Pie Company, corner of Grand River and Hagedorn. Coach Keyton Crawford here on the Crawford Podcasting Network. Beautiful weekend. Deepest meaning of all of this weekend is not going up north to Traverse City or Higgins Lake, but to all those who gave their lives for our freedom. So salute to those folks.
Absolutely. No
True meaning. In fact, you were talking before we started, it's just not, you had a lot of family traditions in Memorial Day weekend, Kerry, and they're not there, and you kind of got in a little funky, as you admitted to me.
Just not really into doing a whole lot of people stuff right now, because it was always a big thing to be at my mom and dad's house. And, my dad passing away, so I mean, we still would do stuff, but it's just not nothing. As you get older, you start losing more and more people.
And as you get older, sometimes you get more nostalgic. As you get older, you get more emotional sometimes.
Absolutely.
And also, after you lost your dad within the last, it's always every holiday after you lose a parent or family member, a close family member, you remember those. I mean, you go look nostalgically at those events that holiday presented, and that void now lives there.
Yeah, because Christmas was huge with my mom, and Christmas has never been the same since she passed away.
Right.
And, it's just hard. It's just hard all the way around, for everything. You think about my mom, my dad, my sister are not here anymore. And countless other cousins and whatnot, but it only is relative to the closer it is to, and then finding out, like we talked about a good friend of mine, her husband passed away. It's like there's a young man, a golfer, took his own life.
30?
The stress of
30 years old? He took his own life.
I mean, it hasn't come out yet, but
Terrible.
He had the alcoholism, he had the depression, he had all those demons he was fighting. And you just feel sorry for those people that just can't get the help to help them.
Right.
But anyway.
Hey, kudos to, once again, salute to all those who gave. Now on a lighter note, you haven't said anything about my haircut. And this is what you have been preaching to me for months. But I kept thinking you might be disappointed because I didn't go completely.
No. It's beautiful. Because it's now you don't have to worry about it. And I think you realize that, hey, this is very nice. Short, sweet, and like I said, washcloth and wear. Just I have to do it.
Keep in mind, my barber Dwayne told me this. It's like black guys, when they shave their head, they look better than white guys.
I've seen some white guys with some nice nuggets.
No, I'm just saying.
Overall,
the reason I say this is because white guys, when they shave their head completely, they have kind of an anemic look.
Yeah, you gotta get some color on it.
You gotta get some color. And I tan fairly easy, but I wouldn't want to go that way in.
You're outside.
I wanted a cross between, Sergeant Vince Carter and Gomer Pyle and our old coach Charlie Dubois.
Coach J had that.
Coach J, Mr. J had. We called him Mr. J. He had the Sergeant Carter.
That boy.
And when he walked into the gym,
you already knew what time it was. There was nothing messing around going on in that gym.
Patio guys out there, Mr. J. Wasn't a tall guy, but his presence filled the room, filled the gymnasium.
We like to say he was Hot Diesel. He walked. No.
And he had the paddle?
Nobody. He wouldn't need a paddle, because as soon as he walked in the room,
there were guys that had the paddle. If you were late, you got the paddle. Grab your ankles rather.
I don't tell what happened because Big Jim wasn't going to be having nobody put their hands on the kids. But here's the thing though, I swear to God, him and Mr. Stafford, they had to have gotten their hair cut every
Ron
Sunday.
Stafford had more hair than me.
But it was always crisp, high and tight, flat top.
No, Ron Stafford. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Never out of line, ever. especially Mr. J. That was perfect.
So
care
Mr.
every
J,
day.
and I remember in gym class, this is like 7th grade. People are, starting to grow. Or 1968, people starting to grow their hair longer, and he'd always get on people for wearing their hair longer. He said, just do it like me, and it's just like one brush. You didn't have to brush.
I had to fro in junior high, so I had to comb it out.
I
and get
felt
it right.
like Bill Murray and Harold Ramis in Stripes when my 89-year-old Barbara Twain stoolmaker last Wednesday.
Right.
Stripes, one of the greatest
Classic.
movies. It's in my top 3.
Classic.
It's right out there with Naked Gun, Porky's 1, 2, and 3. I'm just kidding.
Porky's, he had the
Caddyshack. No, Caddyshack. Naked Gun. 33 and 33rd. I remember the Naked Gun thing. Airplane and Stripes.
Porky's car is iconic with the pig as the hood on it. Just sled.
Speaking of car, and then we'll get into our sports content. I've been going back to my Starsky and Hutch days.
Really?
The red Gran Torino, Zebra 3.
Really?
I mean, I've been watching it on, YouTube, Netflix.
Okay.
Starsky and Hutch. You remember Starsky and Hutch? You don't remember. You're too young.
Huggy Bear, come on.
75, and it was Justin Fargas, his son, played in Michigan. 75 to 78. Starsky had that bomber's jacket. I got one of those just like him over at PA. I was in college. I was David Starsky. Starsky. But that Gran Torino, and I'm a GM guy, but that's the one Ford. You talk about if you had a bunch of money, you talk about I do this, I do that. I go try to track down a 1974 to 76 Zebra 3. I call it Zebra 3. That's what it's called. It's that red Gran Torino 4351 V8 with that almost like a Nike stripe.
Almost.
Nothing
wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was like a 5-speed on. That was on the flight. That was a manual transmission. The one that Starsky.
Really?
I think so. I don't think it's. I don't know.
That's
Anyway.
right, though. We used to have those conversations with the car rides all the time, from the Smokey and the Bandit to
Charles.
the Magnum PI to,
I mean, that 76, that Firebird, or what was it? What was that car that Smokey? Firebird, but Trans Am.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Trans Am. I mean, now everybody thought yearning for that car. For me, Starsky, two-door.
My favorite.
He had some air. He had some air shocks that just brought it up just
Yeah, you gotta have the rate.
just
Right
a
rate.
tad,
You gotta have the
not
right rate.
crazy, just a little bit
I
less.
believe it had the silver mag honeycombs on it.
Oh, he had the wagon. He had those white. Didn't they call them wagon wheels? Coyote wheels, whatever. I don't know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
My favorite obviously is the Cobra. Sylvester Stallone, Cobra, the Murphy, the Great Murphy.
Not clicking.
That sled, Mercury, that sled, that
Oh.
drove. Love that car.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that car.
All right, we're tuned down sports topics. Now we're getting to sports topics. The big news of the week. The NCAA, there's a court settlement backlog of lawsuits that they owe people $2.8 billion for this whole thing about everybody needs to get paid. Everybody got that. And the NCAA is going to be paying, and college athletics going to be paying athletes in 2025. I'm talking football, basketball. And I was texting with Tom Izzo. He says, "Man, you have, he was basically saying he was out there in LA that you ain't seen nothing. One of those you ain't seen nothing yet thing. I mean, this is going to get crazy. And I mean, I just think as a byproduct of this, you know, what's going to happen in non-revenue sport? I mean, so here's what the deal's going to be. The NCAA is going to have to pay athletes like 40% of the revenue, and then the colleges are going to have to pay the other 60%. At least in an article I wrote, but we don't know how this is going to shake out in the next year or so. But man, it's going to change that way. Don't you think?
I think. Well, first, what was it? 2.8 million, right?
Just
once
settlement.
Once that gets all fettered out, you know, people thinking they're going to get this big windfall of money. Like, yeah, you're not going to get that much.
How long will that take?
It's kind of like those big ones that they have on TV, you know, where you sign up for it.
You mean class action suits?
Yeah, you get like 3 cents in the mail. But, you know, obviously get some money, but I get frustrated. I'm only frustrated about that part where, like, what about all the people before that?
Well, that was
my guys.
Well, that's like what Ditka was pushing in the NFL, all, you know, for guys
pensions?
Pensions. I mean,
Right. What about all us?
That built the league.
We laid the foundation so that you can get paid.
Yeah.
You know, the Lorenzo Whites, the Tony Maniches,
the college football in 2023 had something, you know, it was built with footings and joists and all that stuff of structure back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
You know, the Bubba Smiths of the world. Back, you know, what about them? But, you know, we digress. But that will be, you know, handed out to whoever. But going forward, you know, like you said, they got to start saving their money, rubbing their nickels together, and like Michigan State, it'll be men's football, men's basketball, and probably hockey will get some of that money because they are a revenue.
Well, I mean, you got to create the revenue when you do that with TV. I'm not sure Asian hockey is going to get that.
But I mean, they'll be making money for the school. So if it's just from TV revenues, then that makes sense. It's just going to be football and basketball. That's it. That's all people going to get, you know. And then, like you said, when they put that Title IX piece in there,
let's not forget Title IX.
They're going to start complaining, you know, about that piece, and rightfully so. We all paying, but it's like, who should get the money? Well, who's making the money?
So that's your school talk. That's your school talk. And I understand that. Yeah.
That's who's going to get the money.
You get paid for what you bring to the table from a revenue generation standpoint.
And then I think that's where the NIL stuff will take care of itself, where
get your own
now
deal.
you can go to Gran Torino Pie Company, and you can do a couple commercials.
But just think of that. Just think in the last few years, how many times we've heard us, there's big changes in college athletics. We've been getting that storyline like once a year. I mean, the changes keep on coming.
And who knows when it's going to stop.
Yeah.
You know, because as long as you keep throwing money, at the problem or trying to fix it. But they have to get some, this is the beginning, I think, of getting some control over.
Oh, yeah, because
the Wild Wild West that it is.
It is a Wild West, because we're in the transitional stage of, you know, where players are getting compensation of some sort. But I think part of that transition and part of the getting away from the Wild West is contractual agreements. You know, it's just like, if you're going to use the NFL model, use the NFL model.
Sure, because now they're talking about like if we're going to give you this amount of money, then
we're going to you got to give us a couple of years.
And you're going to play all the games. None of this
none of this opt out.
You're going to play in all 14,
well, I think they'll be
15,
motivated to, you know, they
kind
get
of
paid.
thing like that. So, you know, there's going to be some you're going to do's on the school side. Like, now, this is what's going to happen. And if you're not, my thing is, what happens academically now? I'm getting paid. I'm doing this. Are you going to be held accountable academically?
Or are you just a mercenary?
Or are you even going to school?
Yeah. Are you just representing that school without even? All you do is just go to the football building.
Because if you get paid to play or whatever, then use that money to pay for your schooling. We take them scholarships and give them to somebody.
You know, it's like, boy, I've done a complete 180 in this over a span of like 22 years. I mean, I was one of those. Hey, listen, if you're a college athlete and you're getting a full ride scholarship like football and basketball, then you're getting paid. You're getting, and I said that from a perspective that you know, or my parents paid for my education a long time ago. It was a lot cheaper, but you know, my wife and I put 3 kids through college. I mean, and Cody played D3, which is no compensation. You play for the love of the game. It's like, wow. I mean, that should be good enough to be happy with. But then I've realized in the last 10, 12, 14 years how much work goes into getting to that level. How much you have to put in to get to that level. It's extraordinary. People have no idea. Just like in coaching, people don't realize how many hours, you know, coaches are getting paid, you know, at the higher level. They pay the dues early on, like my son's going through right now, but later on they get paid. But once again, they did the grinding.
Right.
And people don't realize that. They just see the back end of it.
They just see the Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, they see all that. They don't realize
the other 364 days that it took to get there.
And how much, and actually, you know, there's injuries involved in that, and also the fact that what a small percentage of guys that make it, you know, relative to the guys that try to make it. Smidgen.
Minuscule.
These are elite athletes. So,
like we talked about last week, especially football, there's not a lot of extra. Whereas you can, if you're willing with this, like if you're willing to put that grind in, there are opportunities overseas. Not always
basketball.
The greatest.
Oh yeah,
that kind of
football.
stuff. But
Football is it, baby.
Now it's NFL or UFL.
And
Well,
the injuries,
Canada, but
and the injuries are can be life,
catastrophic.
you know, changing, if you will.
Sure.
But there's the other element. I mean, you know, right now college football scholarships, basketball, you know, they're 1-year renewables, you know, but it's expected if you go there and you don't screw up, you get all 4 years.
You're supposed to do.
But it technically is 1-year renewable. So what's it going to have from when the guy's getting paid? Is it going to be a 2-year? It's like NFL. Well, typically NFL contracts, rookie contracts are 3 years, and then it becomes that opt-out moment where you get the big bucks, you know. So you got a 3-year commitment. But what's it going to be for college? I mean, back to what we were talking about. If you're going to come to Oregon, you're going to stay here for 2 years, right? Right. I mean,
Well, they can't unless they change that rule. You have to be in college for at least 3 years anyway. But now it doesn't say that you have to stay at Michigan or Michigan State.
You move around.
You can move around.
Right. Okay.
But you can't go pro to NFL.
And are there going to be? And can the college trade the guy? You're talking about wiggle. Hey, listen, you're not working out. We're gonna. It's almost like this de facto trade that we have to the Michigan State players.
True.
But
I mean, they kind of have that now anyway because, well, they definitely have it when the first new coach comes in. He has that window where he can say, "Hey, Tom, look, you know, appreciate all your efforts, but this is not working out for you. Now you can stay here. We'll pay for your scholarship, but you're not going to be on the football team. We're going to need that football scholarship."
But when the guy says we'll still pay for your scholarship. That's a lot of, you know, that's huge.
Right, but if you think about it though, if a guy wants to play,
yeah,
it's not staying. You know, if he's done his 4 years and has a scholarship already, and there's no reason for him to stay,
yeah,
or except to be a student and enjoy himself.
You're right.
And he's not, you know, he knows at that point he's not going to the NFL.
Right.
Hey, I will stay here and work, get a year on my master's, or you know, whatever the case may be, and go about my business. But there's so many unanswered questions still, and there's still so much out there. Oh yeah, because you know, once again, once money is involved,
everything changes.
Everything changes.
It's a lot of money. This TV revenue, TV packages. In college athletics, I mean the Big Ten and Power 5. The big winner of this is the Big Ten and the SEC because they all got 3 or 4 networks.
They're still talking about Miami. Well, more of Clemson and Florida State.
Adding on the Big Ten.
Miami and the ACC imploding.
Oh yeah.
You know because.
Oh yeah.
The ACC ain't making no money.
Well, I think it's going to be. It's a Power 5. It's going to become the Power 4. This is my opinion. Well, there's 68 Power 5 schools right now in 5 leagues. I think that'll go down to 4, and 18 a pop or whatever that comes out to.
Washington State and Oregon State figured
they're orphans.
They're
orphans. They're in the Pac-2. They're in the Pac-2. And the Mountain West people want to join the, like we talked about last week, want to
Grab
join
that
the
name.
just to grab the name. Hey, look, you got some place settings out there. We'll go sit at the table.
Sure. You give us that name brand.
Yeah. It's still
I mean,
you're Mountain West, 2.0. You're still the Mountain West.
You're still not going to be a power. Because you're not bringing nobody going to watch you. Your stadiums ain't,
The
It's
Pac-12
unfortunate.
has always struggled. I mean, that's not passionate fan base.
Too much other stuff to do.
Well, I guess. It's a different mentality. I mean,
UCLA, the Rose Bowl.
Well, I mean,
they
you're
have
40
more. They have more banners up around the top of the stadium to
let's
cover
fill
up the
in.
seats.
Let's put a Jeep Cherokee in the end zone and put commercial stuff around it to fill space.
It's
I
like
mean,
the Aloha Bowl back in
well, I mean,
Nobody's coming.
people think about UCLA. I mean, I can't think of a least appealing place to go if you go to a college where you want to be passionate about your team. It's a 45 freaking minute bus ride from Westwood to Pasadena with the traffic, and students, they're not going to do that.
I mean, it's bad enough.
They want to
Miami,
stagger
at least-
down from their house party, stagger down drunk. They're like,
At least Miami was winning.
yeah.
So they go to the Orange Bowl, from Coral Gables to. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But UCLA, they're winning, but they're not. It ain't. It's like you said. It's not a culture.
And USC they'll come if you're in the hunt for the national championship.
Yeah.
They'll come to the Coliseum, and all the celebrities will come out, be on the sideline, and it's almost like a pro mentality.
That's
Yeah,
what
but the
Pete Carroll
Pac-12,
did.
I mean, the SEC and the Big Ten, those two schools from passion level, maybe even the SEC more than the Big, blow away everybody.
Oh yes, you see,
It's
that's
that
a whole different
psychotic
animal
level.
down there.
Yeah.
That's a whole different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go give you a chance to experience some
Yeah.
of that.
We're
this
gonna
year,
do
too.
that. We're gonna
get
do
down
that.
there and watch some of that.
We'll take
Excited.
Coach Keyton and Crawford on the road to an SEC game. Maybe do it down to the Grove at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss,
Yeah.
Mississippi, man. That's a whole
Oxford.
different. That's a whole different environment in and of itself.
Hey, Lane Kiffin's team's preseason number 5 in a
Really,
Yeah.
he did really well in
Watch
the
out!
portal too.
Watch out for Ole Miss,
He
baby.
did very well in the portal.
Watch out for Ole Miss
He can coach.
making a run.
He can coach flat out.
He's controversial.
Because he doesn't. He's not Cowtown.
Well, he doesn't give a shit what
at
people
all.
think about him.
Not one bit.
That's a big thing these days.
Not one bit. And he's winning.
Yeah.
So winning always fixes a whole lot of problems.
Yeah. Anyway, Coach Keyton, Tom Crawford here on the Crawford Podcasting Network. Want to make sure everybody has a relaxing, safe rest of the Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you next Sunday here on Gran Torino Pie Company. Come out and join us. 9 o'clock here at the corner of Hagedorn and Grand River. Until next time,
Go green.
go blue.